What one thing makes the legal system favor the covert narcissist? That's what we're talking about in this video. Hi, I'm Dr. Melissa. I'm a trauma expert, top doctor, leadership catalyst for narcissistic abuse survivors, and CEO of Sustainably You, where we help soul-driven leaders transcend their past experience of narcissistic abuse to create greater impact and fulfillment as they change the world. Today, we're talking about the one thing that makes the legal system favor the covert narcissist, and you would have had no idea that your success was going to hurt you. So let me start with a story. Delia's head was ready to blow off of her body with the sheer injustice. Her husband cheated on her and got another woman pregnant while she worked 60 hours a week as the sole provider for their family of 5. Now he wanted full custody of their kids, and the court was ordering her to pay him child support. To Delia, the facts were so obvious, so clear. She was a well-respected doctor in their community. She worked hard to take care of her patients. She was totally devoted to their 3 boys. And while she was working to provide for their family, her husband and young boys were over at another woman's house every day for a play date. She had no idea the play date was for her husband. Now he wanted to continue his stay-at-home parent lifestyle and have her continue to foot the bill. The legal system didn't recognize the gross injustice, and Delia was shocked. And unfortunately, in my decades of experience in narcissistic abuse recovery, this type of story is all too common. Highly successful individuals are treated differently than lower earning or lower income individuals by the legal system. Your success is actually held against you. Now, this bias, some of it conscious, some of it subconscious, this bias is based in scarcity. It's based on the belief that there's just not enough to go around, and that if you have a lot, it's because you're taking it from someone else, even though that may not consciously seem to be true. Because of this unconscious bias, the individual, the system, starts with the perception that you're selfish, even if that is not at all true. And you come in and you start your interaction with the legal system as a tall poppy. You've heard of tall poppy syndrome. You start your interaction as someone who's just waiting to be knocked down a bit, to be lowered to their standard, to be lowered to the standard of the other people that they serve, the people in the community. And unfortunately, the greater your success, the harder and the faster you must fall. Now, to be fair, this bias is not limited to the legal system. Scarcity beliefs, tall poppy syndrome, those are pervasive throughout all of society. The next way that your success hurts you is because the covert narcissist is presenting themselves as the ultimate victim. This is their MO, right? To be the victim or the hero in every story. They know how to play that role very well. And because you've been trapped in the drama triangle for years, even decades, you've learned to play the role of rescuer or persecutor. Once you've committed to leaving, you're no longer willing to rescue them. To the outside world, this makes it look like you don't have any empathy. From the outside looking in, they can't see the warped dynamic of the drama triangle. Now, one might argue that a trained professional should still be able to discern the truth, and they should, but the reality is that most can't. Whether it's laziness, whether it's lack of knowledge, most will resort to he said, she said, or it's a no-fault state, I don't want to hear about it. They essentially throw their hands up in the air, freeing themselves of any responsibility for seeing the situation clearly. And they have no reason to want to change their opinion because the evidence makes it look like they're correct. The covert narcissist in a full-on narcissistic collapse looks like the victim. They're often disheveled, scattered. They appear weak and like they're in need of support and protection. You, on the other hand, look like you have it all together. You're smart, you're successful, you're resourceful, you're making things happen in the world. In this situation, your success is also an agitator. Your success on the one hand and your story of being the victim on the other hand are absolutely irreconcilable to the listener. This creates its own kind of cognitive dissonance. They see you as clearly smart and can't believe that you would have tolerated abuse for decades. They see you as strong and believe that you would have contacted the police if things had really gotten that bad. They see that you can easily support yourself, yet you chose to stay in that relationship. And because you have the developmental skills of whole object relations and object constancy, you're able to see the good and the bad in your relationship, the good and the bad in your ex. You're able to be accountable for your role. Whereas the covert narcissist in this moment only sees you as all bad and accepts no accountability for their role. To the professional who's untrained in narcissistic abuse, your story doesn't make sense. It just doesn't jive with the smart, successful, resourceful, strong person that they see sitting in front of them. And that disconnect is agitating. It's easier for them to assume that you're lying. The next way that your success hurts you in the legal system or legal environment is that most professionals don't understand the trauma bond. And to be fair, no one understands the trauma bond if they haven't experienced it. This is why you need someone who has experienced it to help you with your recovery journey. I had a call recently with a woman who was explaining to me why she had quit therapy. She was seeing this male therapist after her husband of decades had cheated on her many, many, many times. And he said to her, the first time he cheated on you, he was wrong. The second time he cheated on you, he was wrong. The third time he cheated on you, you were a fool. And she never went back to therapy. This was a therapist who obviously does not understand the trauma bond, does not understand why someone who is smart and resourceful and strong would stay in an abusive relationship. The legal system doesn't understand it either. They don't understand why a smart, resourceful person would stay in an abusive relationship. So they don't believe that you've been abused for 10, 20, 30 years. They don't believe that a smart, resourceful person would take an abusive partner back. So due to their lack of understanding about the trauma bond, they see you as either an idiot or a liar, neither of which helps your case. The final way that your success hurts you in the legal system is that legal decisions have little to do with justice. Doing this kind of work, I hear really extreme kind of stories all the time. Things like, she opened credit cards without my knowledge and now I'm responsible for half of this debt. Or he went into a rage and destroyed assets, furniture, collectibles, things that had value. Or he used her income to pay for his escapades with numerous other sexual partners without her knowledge. Or that she gave joint funds to friends and family without even discussing it. Or maybe it's that he spends all of his money going out with the guys, buying a new boat, buying a new convertible, not spending any of the money on the kids. Or it might be that she's refused to work for 2 or 3 decades and now is accustomed to their lifestyle based on her partner's income. Many states here in the US are no fault. The narcissist shenanigans aren't even taken into account. And if children are involved, their well-being is always prioritized. Legal decisions are often based on the ability to pay, not justice. And if you have the ability to pay for legal fees, maintenance, child support, chances are good that you will. So what's the message here? Certainly it's not to become unsuccessful, to let yourself go, right? How do you use your success to your advantage when you're operating within the legal system. Your single best move in any legal interaction is to complete your narcissistic abuse journey as quickly as possible. If you've left the relationship, you've worked with a therapist, that's a great start. Gets you about halfway. There's more. Next, you're going to want to eliminate any rumination that you do, which is costly. It moves you further from your goals. Then you're going to want to get really clear about the dynamics of the narcissist relationship, about their behavior, about why you react the way that you do, about why you attracted them in the first place. This creates the foundation that's required to be able to break your trauma bond. Breaking your trauma bond will make you stop attracting new and old narcissists and their drama. It shifts the dynamic on a subtle and energetic level in a profound way. And once that trauma bond is broken, it reveals to you the subconscious beliefs and patterns that you have that allow them to push your buttons, that allow other people to come in and see how to push your buttons. And at this point, not only does your legal situation improve, but your success becomes limitless. This is the work that I love to do with leaders. And if you want to be one of them, comment, "I'm ready," and let's have a conversation.